Welcome to Guns Gaming. Today we're going to look over the basic mechanics inside PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG, because there's a G at the end for some reason, and it should be S, but whatever. Welcome to the basic mechanic videos. Let's start off with an overview of what we're going to go over today and things you might learn from this. If you already know everything that I'm going to mention here in this little overview, then you don't have to watch this video, but if there's something you may need to know, maybe you should watch this video. So things we're going to go over today, including reading the map, the 8x8 grid that it is, and the increments in terms of zeroing with this map, and then we're going to talk about zeroing itself later. Topography and housing details through the map, circle speed and the damage of the circle, pre-medding using consumables, and what the pre-med bar means, and using it to damage, to combat the damage of the circle itself. Silencers and sound distance fall off and what that does for you, and other attachments of weapons, zeroing on a hill itself, damage fall off of weapons over a distance, and third person versus first person. Let's start off with the map. So the map is an 8x8 grid of yellow squares. If you zoom in, you'll see 10 by 10 white squares inside one yellow square. This is a pretty basic military map. PlayerUnknown likes to stick to some military basics because he comes from an ARMA background from his modding. Each yellow square is 1 kilometer. Each white square is 100 meters inside the yellow square. That's why it's 10. There's 64 kilometer area of this entire map, or 8 kilometer squared area. Now, this map doesn't have good topography details, but with some map knowledge and some basic understanding of where you're at, you can learn where some hills are based on some shading and whatnot, or densely forested areas based on some shading. So that's a little bit of, you'll learn it in your own time. It's not something I can teach you to look for at the map. The second thing is housing details. The housing details show pretty much every structure down to a T. Any crevices inside the structure, any like push outs of the structure, anything you can hide behind. So if you're unfamiliar with an area and you're looking at the housing details, you can look at this and basically know what's there, where you could hide, how you're going to move on it from a distance. Now, second thing you should note is on a map, you can right click to place a yellow marker that will show up on your compass. So let's say you're looking at your map and you want to go there, but you don't want to constantly look at your map over and over again to be able, am I close now? Where is it? Just right click, place a yellow marker, and follow it on your compass, and boom, you're good. Now, at the start of the game, there's going to be a white circle that appears after the first minute or so. Let's talk about this white circle and everything that it means and damage that it does and whatnot. When you first have the ability to jump out of the plane, meaning as you're flying over the island, your very second you can press F, that starts a 10-minute countdown. From that very second until the blue circle closes in on the white circle is a 10-minute period. Meaning, from the moment you can drop to the very first change of the circle, not the appearance of the circle, but the change of the circle itself down to a smaller circle, is a 10-minute period. This means you have 10 minutes to get from wherever you're at to wherever you need to be inside the circle. Now, you can combat the damaging effects of the first and the second circle fairly easily. The first circle does about 2 to 3 damage per tick, and it ticks kind of slowly. The second circle does 2 to 3 damage per tick, but it ticks faster. And then after that, it continues to increase with speed and damage that it does over time. I don't have the exact numbers because people are still measuring out the total health of PlayerUnknown health bar and everything like that. We believe it's 100 health that your player has. And then, of course, armor versus helmet and chest armor change percentages that weapons do to your health. But we believe that it is 100 health that you have total. Easy way to measure this out, and an easy reason why we believe you have 100 health, is if you took a picture of your screen at a 1080p resolution, and then you went into Paint and you used some lines, and you divided it equally. It'd be easier in Photoshop for you to do this, but you divided it equally by 100 segments. Then you took that overlay and you made it a transparent PNG, and you overlaid it on top of like a stream recording or whatever. You could use that information to accurately measure how much damage you take if we're going on a 100 health point scale. how much damage you take from different weapons and firearms and things like that. Then just recorded it and note what happened. Should be pretty easy if somebody would like to figure that out. I'm too lazy, but that's how you do it. So let's talk about pre-medding in the circle and what pre-medding is and what these do. So there is an energy drink, painkillers, and an adrenaline syringe. Energy drink gives you a boost of 40, painkillers give you a boost of 60, and adrenaline syringe gives you a boost of 100. This is important, and I'm going to tell you why. The little bar above your health bar whenever you pre-med is divided into 4 segments. The first segment is 20, the second is 40, the third is 30, and the fourth is 10. Now, why it's 20, 40, 30, 10, I'm not exactly sure, but there are some key things to note here when you cross certain thresholds. So once you're past the 60 boost threshold, you will now be able to run faster. And another thing, if you press X to put away all your guns and use your fists, you will also run faster then. So if you have the plus 60 boost going on from pre-medding and you put away your weapons, you can actually run fairly fast and beat the circle if you have to run and you can't find a vehicle. That's a little quick tip for you there. So press X to put away your weapons and you'll run faster with your weapons put away, and then also use the boost to run faster as well, using energy drinks, painkillers, and adrenaline syringes. You won't get adrenaline syringes except from like crates that drop in the game. If you can't find a car, that is going to be your best bet to actually beat the circle in terms of getting there, especially if you have to go a long distance. Now, the first circle you can combat fairly easily using just a painkiller or just some Red Bull. And you can also combat it by timing when you should use your first aid kits as well. One thing I will note here, you can use multiple painkillers and multiple Red Bull. What I recommend is using one painkiller, one Red Bull, because 60 plus 40 is 100, meaning you're going to be at max boost. You don't really have a reason to use any more boost there. Now, what we believe it does so far is that if you have healing over time, using the boost items or consumables, you will always heal at the same consistent rate. We have not noticed a difference in healing rate. Now, this same consistent healing rate can beat the first, second, and ties about even with the third circle. But past that, the circles are going to out-damage the healing over time rate that you have when you're using consumables. So if you have consumables, you can beat the first and second circle, not so much the third or past that. Medkits, first aid kits will also help in this instance, as you can use them to heal yourself a large portion to continue to last longer. Here, I didn't have anything except 2 medkits, or 2 first aid kits, excuse me, and I almost beat the circle, the second circle. I didn't have any healing over time, just 2 first aid kits, and I nearly got there. So that just shows you how long you can last outside the circle without any kind of meds whatsoever. Now let's talk about silencers and sound distances and sound fall off. So I'm going to use this silence SMG here, and I'm going to shoot this window. Now there is a window breaking sound, but you currently can't hear it. The reason why is I'm too far away for you to actually be able to hear that sound. However, if I move up close inside this house and I shoot this window, you can hear that. Now, what the sound fall off is for windows is fairly short. We don't know how big it is for silencers, but if you're standing beside somebody using a silenced weapon, you can absolutely hear it. However, once you're past a certain threshold, you cannot hear the weapon whatsoever. This makes silencers extremely powerful as an attachment on guns. The other couple of things we want to talk about when it comes to attachments of weapons: vertical grips increase your total vertical stability or recoil of a weapon, making it easier to fire. The angled grip, we currently believe that it makes the transition time between first person and third person ADSing faster, or just ADSing in general. That's what we currently believe. We're not 100% sure on that, so that could change in the future. Flash hiders take away the flash from your gun, but do not change your accuracy or recoil in any way. They just make it harder to spot you from a distance because there's no flash from the gun. Compensators reduce the overall recoil, which I recommend on things like the AKM and the SCAR, because they make it easier to fire successive shots over and over again, especially on the AKM, which is one of the most recoil heavy assault rifles you can get in the game. This is also good for SMGs like Uzis and the UMP, as it makes it much easier to aim consistently, and especially on the Uzi, this will greatly help you increase the damage, especially if you have a stock, staying on target with the Uzi, which is a very good SMG within short distances. Stocks will increase your overall stability when aiming with the weapon, including the Uzi and the M4, which are the only two guns in the game that currently have stocks. Cheek pads, I'm not 100% sure what they do, but I believe for things like the M24 and the Kar 98 and the AWM, they increase or decrease the amount of time between cycling around and firing and staying on target, or maybe they increase your stability. We're not sure what those do. Chokes on shotguns are extremely powerful. You can put them on the S686 and the S1867. The pump action and the double barreled. You can put them on both the pump action and the double barreled, and they are extremely powerful for shotguns because they decrease the amount of spread of the pellets in a shotgun. Now, I could explain this to you in a big, long, nonsensical way, but that's going to increase the length of the video. But let me put it in a really basic way. If you have a choke on a shotgun, you're going to be able to kill somebody at longer ranges with the shotgun, which the shotgun's already kind of ridiculous in my opinion, but hey. The belt loops help you reload the gun faster. The choke will allow you to kill somebody at a longer range because it decreases the spread of the pellets over a longer distance, meaning you're going to do more damage over longer distances. So chokes, always put them on shotguns. They make them extremely powerful weapons, especially if you're ADSing with a shotgun. Okay, so this one is a live recording in which I'm going to attempt to demonstrate to you what... Let's see here. In which I'm going to attempt to demonstrate to you zeroing on a hill and what damage fall off is, and then we'll also go over a brief explanation of third versus first person. So let's get started. So first off, if we're zeroing in general, so here, that's not what I wanted. Straight line, sorta, maybe a little crooked, who cares, okay? I am Bob, okay? And here is Jack with his tremendous dong. Okay? So if I have a gun and then I have a scope on the gun, the bullet of a gun does not travel in a straight line. The bullet is affected by gravity, so it actually does something like this. Okay? So what a scope does with zeroing is it's slightly misaligned, and I'm actually going to have to draw this. It's slightly misaligned on the gun to adjust for a bullet doing that, okay? And so the result that you get is the bullet does this. Because the scope is aligned to shoot here. So the bullet will actually come out and go up past the scope's center of view, and then it'll go back down into the scope's center of view. Okay, now this is what zeroing does over multiple distances. So let's say that you're zeroed at 100 meters. Okay, this is how it's going to work. And it does the same thing over 1,000 meters. However, this changes when we're on a hill, because this is a flat surface. Let's assume that we're on a hill now, okay? So we're on a hill. Close your eyes. Just imagine with me, okay? So here is Jack. No, Jack's not green. Jack is black. With his tremendous dog. That did not come out. Okay, anyway. And here's Bob. Okay? So let's say that Bob is shooting at... Oh, God, this is... Okay. Let's say that Bob is shooting at Jack. Okay? And he is shooting at him down this hill. Down this hill. Okay? So, if I'm shooting at him down a hill... The horizontal distance between us from my head to him is actually shorter than the current circle, than this current line, okay? And here, I'll prove it to you. Okay? This is how I'll prove it to you. So the distance from my head to Jack's head, okay, in an angled line. Then the distance from my head to Jack's head, okay, in a vertical line. And then the actual vertical distance between my elevation and Jack's elevation. What's this? We made a triangle. Oh, for any of you that do know any kind of math, this is Pythagoras' theorem. So if we have a 3, 4, 5 triangle and we do some math, Pythagoras' theorems is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, because of this, our actual horizontal distance, I'm trying to think of this in a way that'll work. We're just going to leave it at 3, 4, 5. So we're 4 meters away from Jack. If I measure this distance, this is 5 meters, okay? But what we want to know is the total distance that gravity is going to affect the bullet, okay? We don't want to know the angled distance because that's longer than the vertical or the horizontal distance total. And the vertical distance doesn't really play into this. So we want to know the distance at which gravity is going to affect the bullet, which is only 4 meters. So 3 squared, 4 squared, that's 9 plus 16 equals 25. If you take the square root of all those, you get 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we don't want this longer distance, because if we zero for this longer distance, we are going to get all this crazy math off the screen. So if we zero for the longer distance, okay, we zero for 5, we're going to have this happen. I'm going to put it in red to make it different. I said I'm going to put it in red to make it different. Thank you. We're going to have this happen to us. We're going to aim for his head, okay, right here, but we're going to get that. So the bullet's going to go whoa, past him. If we angle for the 4, no, put it back in, put it, stupid paint. Stop it. If we angle for the 4, we're going to get that to happen. So that's why I don't know what I just did there with that thing. It's wrong though. Hang on. This. And then this. No, what the fuck? So this is why we zero at the horizontal distance and not the vertical distance, because or at the angular distance. So if you zero at the angular distance, you're going to overshoot your target. If you zero at the horizontal distance, which is the total distance at which gravity is affecting and changing the trajectory of the bullet, you're going to get the 4. You're going to get the blue line, okay? So always zero, even on a hill, at a vertical or a horizontal distance, not a vertical distance, okay? Better explanation of this. I am up here. I now have a tremendous dong as well. That's Bob. This is Jack. They changed positions. Make it fair. This distance is 100 meters. This is the distance. Okay. Yeah, this distance is 100 meters right here. This is the distance between Jack and Bob on a horizontal plane. This distance is 1,000 meters. 1,000 meters. 1,000 meters, okay? So if I'm shooting down at Jack, Bob, I'm shooting down at him. Do I zero for 100 meters or do I zero for 1,000 meters? If I zero for 100 meters, that's going to happen. Yeah, that's, I mean, not like that, but that's going to happen. If I zero for 1,000, fuck are you doing? If I zero for 1,000 meters, that's going to happen. Okay? Ignore that. We're not curving bullets here, okay? This isn't okay. But you see why now that you zero at the horizontal distance versus the vertical distance. Now this only applies on hills. Obviously you always just zero the horizontal distance, ignore the vertical distance. Now in the future, they are talking about bringing windage into the equation. If they bring windage into the equation, I'm going to have to teach you guys some math. And that's going to be a whole nother ball game. Back to the video. Guns? Thanks, me. One thing I forgot to mention, though, when I was going over that is first versus third person. So we have to go over back to me doing a live video demonstration now. Guns? Thanks, me. I'm sorry, I forgot that. Hey guys, so we actually have a video coming up that I'm going to show you about this, but so I am in this video coming up, I'm in a house, okay, and in this house, I'm on the bottom floor, okay, so I'm over here, this dude is up here. Now, we just killed Vid, whose body is now here. Rip. Rest in pepperoni. So he's up here hiding in this corner. Now, with first person's third person camera, there's something you have to understand, okay? So here's my head. If I'm in first person camera, here's my camera. It's right about my eye level. If I'm in third person camera, my camera's here, which means I have a higher angle of viewing. So I can see more this way, and more this way. I can see more left and right because this camera is pulled back from my character. So I can see further to my left and right side, and I can see higher above me. So he killed Vid already, and I'm approaching the stairs. So I'm now here. He is in first person mode. So when he tries to see somebody coming on the stairs, suddenly the stairs block his vision. But my third person camera is right here. So I can see him sitting in this corner without any kind of issue whatsoever. What I do at this point is I go first person to make sure that my gun isn't going to hit this part of the floor. And I want to make sure that I'm shooting over the floor and shooting at him. My drawings are so good, aren't they? So I first person and then I step up to right about here. And then I'm able to shoot him. I can't shoot him from here, though. I have to shoot him from here. So, let's watch the clip, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. Guys in here.
Oh my god, that scared me.
Told you to expect guys.
It's on top of the stairs. It's on top of the stairs.
So as you can see, you can use first and third person viewing angles to give you an advantage when clearing houses. It's something I absolutely recommend you do when clearing a house, especially you have to go upstairs. You can also use first versus third person to hold angles on stairs as well. Just know the difference in first versus third person. Somebody can see you and you will not be able to see them based on where they are. Or how close they are to cover, or they're being behind an object. So that's something that you need to remember, that people can use that. You'll never know someone's there. They can be hiding behind something using their third person camera, and you can also do the same to someone else. Last thing that I want to mention here is damage fall off of weapons. There is damage fall off of weapons. We don't know how big it is yet, but it's not very big because the AWM can still one-tap someone from a very long distance away. But it is there. It's a very minute percentage. They take maybe one extra bullet at like past 400 to 500 meters. So it's not something I'm going to give you a big, long teaching thing. It's just something you need to know that's there and that can happen to you. Other than that, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed this basic mechanics video. Like I said, I'm not going to go super in-depth into some things. Like, we didn't go over mil-dot scopes, which, by the way, if you really want to know, I recommend you look up a video on mil-dot scoping and how you can use that in-game with the 8x, the 15x, and somewhat with the ACOG to help your quick adjustment aiming for zeroing. Look up a separate video on that. That's going to be too long for me to explain here. But if you did enjoy this video, feel free to hit that like button. If you dislike the video, dislike it. If I left something out, please leave it in the comments below and let me know. I feel like there's more basic mechanics I need to go over or bring up in this video, I absolutely will. If you'd like to come watch all the action live, you can go over to twitch.tv/GUNZGAMES. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can go to patreon.com/3gunsdown, which will be clickable on screen for you right now. Lastly, for those of you that decided to stick around and watch to the end of this video, I am doing a giveaway over on Twitch, the Twitch channel. It's going to be this Sunday. I'm giving away a copy of Battlegrounds. Now, what I'm going to do from this point on is every other Sunday. So 2 weeks from today, I'm going to give away another copy of the game. Then 2 weeks from every 2 weeks, I'm going to give away a copy of the game. What I'm thinking about doing next week is maybe giving away 3 copies of the game, but I'm going to give away a copy of the game every Sunday, and you have to be in the Twitch channel to participate because I'm loving the game. It's a lot of fun to do. I'm going to do it until I lose interest in the game. Who knows when that's going to be. You can also go over to our Green Man Gaming referral link if you'd like to save yourself up to 5% for standard users on Green Man Gaming. If you're a new user to Green Man Gaming, you can save yourself up to 20% on your first game. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter to listen to my daily rantings. And I don't really use the Facebook, but it's there if you want it. I'm Guns. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Good luck out there in the pubs. I'll see you guys later.